All right, there you go.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to say thank you for this day, dear God. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. Lord, we ask that you go with us as we prepare to do this podcast. Speak through us, dear Heavenly Father. Guide our words and actions, dear God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All righty. Actually, we're a few minutes early, but I think it will be just fine. Trying to pull it up so I can watch it from here. All right. I'm hit that camera off real quick while I log in. All right. Hello, Facebook land. It is your girl, Erica Brown. I am here tonight with Voice It Podcast from CC Inc. Publishing and Design. I have a hometown great, Mr. Chance Robertson from Next Tier Realty. And tonight we're going to be talking about real estate, but we're going to have it come from a Black man's perspective. So we want to hear Mr. Robertson talk about real estate. This is going to be good, y'all, because everybody going to buy a house at some point in life. And we're going to need somebody that's going to be on our side. So let's talk about Mr. Next Tier Realty. Mr. Robertson, give the people an introduction of who you are.
First off, thank you, Ms. Erica, for having me on your podcast here. I'm Chance Robertson. I am the licensed broker and CEO of Next Tier Realty of North Central Florida. We are a real estate brokerage that focuses on providing exponential experiences to our clients and making sure they have the best real estate experience that they can have possibly.
Awesome. So Chance and I were talking before we jumped on live, and he told me that Next Tier doesn't just sell you a house. They sell you an experience. Tell the people about the experience that you sell.
We focus on the experience. Anybody can sell you a house, but we want to become family. We want to have your whole buying experience from the beginning to the end as smooth as possible and as comfortable as possible for you and your family as a transition into a new house. And buying a house is a very, very big investment. We celebrate with you. We go above and beyond at closing. We do the whole confetti, the photo shoot, and we want to be there for you after closing. So even after closing, if you have questions, we're going to be there. You're going to get calls from us every Christmas, every birthday. You will get a text message from me or email throughout the days or years going afterwards. We just want to be there long after the closing and you move in.
Awesome. Now I can say I bought my house many moons ago. And I didn't get any of that.
I hear that quite often. I hear that quite often.
I signed on the dotted line. That was it. I was like, okay, girl, let me get this money. Go ahead on. We good with you. Yeah, so it was that.
And that's the thing we're trying to change. We're trying to change that perspective that we're not here just to get your money and leave. We want to be here well after the closing tape when the ink is dry and the first payment is made.
Absolutely. That's a really good perspective to have. So tell me this. How did you get in the whole real estate business? Now, I've known you for quite a few years, so I've known you've done a wealth of different things.
I have.
But tell me how you got into the real estate game.
I always had a niche for houses, even more building houses, but I didn't want to do construction. That was not my thing. I am a clean guy. I don't believe in having dirty hands, so I won't be out there building houses. But I just started doing more and more research on real estate and decided I want to try being a realtor. First, I started being a realtor, gave that about 5.5, 6 years, and decided, you know what, if I'm gonna be a boss, I got to be my own broker. And I took it to the next level. I prayed on it, took time, and decided I want to open a brokerage. And through prayer and days, next year was born.
Awesome, awesome. Now, is this a team of one, or do you have a bigger squad that's behind you?
I do have a bigger family with me. I'm not gonna call them a squad or a team. We are family. I
Okay.
have 4 agents under me currently. I am the only broker that we have currently, but I do have 4 wonderful agents that are around North Central Florida, causing chaos in the real estate market.
I love it. I love it. So could you tell me some of the challenges that you face with getting into the whole real estate business, just as a Black man?
One of the biggest challenges I faced in real estate is getting in real estate. A lot of people don't realize that you are an independent contractor. And if you don't start with a good brokerage, you are a fish in a sea of sharks. You are just thrown out there. You're spending a ton of money and nobody's nurturing your goals or dreams in real estate. And that's also part of the reason why Next Tier was born, because I went to a popular brokerage, but I would just throw it out there. There was a lot of love for the bigger people who are hire producers, but for the ones who was just starting out, it was like, all right, you passed the test, go sell a house now, but nobody told you or guided you on how to do it. So that was one of the biggest things that made me start Next Tier. And the other challenges is the biggest thing you're gonna start seeing with real estate is it's a sphere of influence. You got to get the people around you to start talking for you, because they're gonna see more people than you come in contact with. The average person needs to come into contact with 100 people before one person buys. So that's a lot. You know, you gotta use the people that you have around you to actually do it. Getting the name out there, starting it out fresh, even with starting a new brokerage, getting my name out there was being big as well, because a lot of people gravitate to some of the more known realtors or the more known brokerages around the area. It was just trying to grow.
I'm always really curious about that, because in my mind, a house sells itself. So it doesn't really matter who sells it to you. Because the house, so I sit back and I always wonder why people go to specific realtors when you're just looking for a house.
Yeah. And that's all they know. A lot of people don't realize that you don't have to use a realtor whose name is on a sign. That's the seller's realtor. You can call your own realtor and have them be a representative on your behalf. There's a lot that people just don't know. And that's one of the biggest things, that, and a lot of people really go by who their mother brought a house from or their daddy brought a house from 30 years ago, which is another big reason why some of the bigger names do well.
Okay. So being that we do have some of those bigger brokerages here in Gainesville, since Gainesville is a small pond, it's not like some of the urban areas like Miami, Jacksonville, Orlando. How would you tell someone like yourself, how do I market beyond what my larger competitors are doing? How would you do it, or how did you do it?
One of the biggest things I focus on is the experience, giving them an experience of having one realtor. A lot of these bigger brokerages have teams. You might talk to 30 different people. Here, you may talk to just me and my other agents. We're not gonna have you go through a cow being herded. We're not gonna do that. You just got 2 of us. That's one of the biggest things I hit on, that if you go to some of these bigger brokers, you may talk to 30 people before you even get to sell your first house or buy a house. Here, it's just us, and we're gonna focus solely on you. It's a team of 2. I go with every transaction with my agents, so they have somebody to always be able to lean on as well.
Awesome. So do you focus on the buyer side or the seller side, or both?
I focus on both. I haven't gotten to a place where I just only want to do one. I think there's a need of education on both sides. So for me, I do want to focus on both. And I encourage that also from my agents. Focus on both. Don't just focus on one and be universal. You want to be able to do both sides of it.
So tell me this, is right now, our market right now? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
The biggest misconception that people really have to understand is the real estate market is local. You cannot go off of what you see on the news that's happening in Washington State, because Florida is a booming market. It is still a seller's market. There's been a little bit of a tug of war where now they're starting to be a little bit more lenient towards buyer's market. It's leaning a little bit more, but it's still a big seller's market.
Okay. Okay. So this is just a little bit off topic, just a little bit.
Mhm.
Have you faced racism with being a Black man owning your own real estate company? Because I only know one other. I don't know any other Black men that own their own real estate companies.
I've had people come say, I need to talk to your broker. Okay, I'm here. I'm that guy that you talk to. I am where the pen ends. I am the buck stopper. So I've had those issues. I haven't had much racism I have faced, but I've had those looks like, you a broker? You're young. You're not white. You're not a typical broker lookage. But I'm that guy. I'm the one where the answers stop at.
So how do we change the mindset of people for them to realize that these spaces exist in that world? How could we, I mean, outside of social media, how do we change the perspective of letting people know that these spaces, I'm your broker?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
how do we change the mindset?
I think the biggest way of changing the mindset would be, we would have to, us as a people, would have to know more about real estate. Know more about the real estate, know more about the career in real estate, other than I can get dressed and show a house. Be educated about the market, be educated about the process. And I think that alone will start to change people to feel like they don't just show a house. This person's well educated, well diverse in this field. They know what they're doing. They're not just going to be the person in the back that just shows up and get a check. They actually know what they're talking about. And I think a lot of that has to do with the training in the beginning also, and doing your research.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So one thing that I hear this urban world, these young guys always saying that they, every day they hustle. They trying to get their hustle on. I'm trying to get it, sis. I'm trying to get it. So what would you say for a young upcoming Black or brown entrepreneur who's trying to break into something, to transition from something negative into something positive, whether it's real estate or anything, just trying to gain some type of entrepreneurship, some ownership or something? What would you tell them the beginning point is? How do you start?
My biggest thing would say your beginning point would get a prayer life. You gotta pray. You gotta talk to God. Being an entrepreneur, it is not easy. These people on social media make it look easy with these nice trips, but they do not show you the nights that they pulling their hair out. They going crazy. They trying to pay the bills. They don't show you that part. So first, have a strong prayer life. The second one would be disciplined. You got to have a sense of discipline. You got to have a regimen that you stick to daily and you don't waver from it. Because as an entrepreneur, nobody tells you what time to get up. Nobody tells you to go sit at the desk for 8 hours. Nobody tells you to keep working at night when the lights go off. You have to keep going. I put in some days, long hours, and they consistent hours. I go through a day and forget I haven't had a lunch. And the last point was be consistent. Be consistent. I had to grow this year and be consistent on my social media presence. I did not post the years before, but starting a brokerage, I said, you know what, I gotta post. And I committed to posting 2 and 3 times a week, which is beyond me. I got to a point I wouldn't post once a year, maybe the kid's birthday, but starting post 2 or 3 times a week, which was big for me. That was a consistency that I had to write down in the beginning of the year as a focus point of be consistent on your social media presence, be consistent with your marketing, be consistent with your team, and be disciplined daily. That was the biggest thing, being disciplined.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I hope you don't beat me up for this one.
I'm with you.
So I also want to share, not only is he a broker with his own firm, he's also a single dad.
Oh, man. I am.
So,
Whew.
yes. So tell me, how does that work?
Actually, it's gotten better with being a broker, and having a little bit more free time to be things. I actually just ran home from my youngest daughter basketball game to get here to do this. But it gave me a free chance to do more stuff because I was in dentistry for 17 years and I had a set schedule of 9 to 5. One of the craziest things that happened earlier this year, my youngest daughter had a field trip and I was able to chaperone. I haven't been able to chaperone a field trip in 15 years. So it actually gave me a little more balance this year to be able to do these things and still hold down an office and keep my team together, but have a little bit more freedom to have a life.
Good, good. That's awesome. So I sometimes people feel like, I'm a single parent. I can't do this. I can't do that. You can do anything you put your mind to. And as Chance has stated, he's been offered more time with his daughter because he stepped out on faith like this. So sometimes we are holding ourselves back from the greatness that God already has out there for us. So I have some real estate questions for you.
Okay.
All right. So how do you help your seller understand the pricing of their home? So say for instance, I'm selling my house and I'm like, I want 2.3 million. You looking like, yo. Do you realize that you live in the hood? You're not gonna get 2.3 million. So how do you get people to understand how pricing is set for your home when you sell it?
It's funny you said that. I dealt with that issue today. And I had one of those moments that I call a come to Jesus conversation with the seller. Ma'am, your house is not worth that kind of money. Let's really look at this. But educating them, letting them understand that your house can't really sell more than what the next house next to you is sold. There's a thing called CMAs or comps in your neighborhood. No matter how much stuff you've done to your house, unless you've shipped in tile from Italy, your house is not going to be worth $2 million. And I actually say that unless you shipped in tile from Italy, I can't get you $2 million. I can get you the best price for your house, but it won't be 2 million. But just trying to educate them, that's the biggest thing I would say, is educating them on what the market is like, market conditions, and letting them know, hey, this is what your house really could go for. A lot of times, some people will be shocked to know what their house can go for, but you do have those ones, like you said, that, they stay in the ghetto and want $2 million because their dad and uncle cousin 3 times over told them that that a piece of land go for $2 million and their house worth it.
Yes.
It happens.
Yes, absolutely. So explain what commission looks like in the state of Florida.
Commission in the state of Florida varies. Real estate commission is usually sold. Your commission comes from the actual sale price of the property. In Florida, it can vary from 4% to 2%. Alachua County kind of stays around 3 to 2.5% for each side. So it can get to be pretty good. A lot of times, also depending on what brokerage you work for, you may have some fees associated with your commission also, as far as a transaction fee or a broker split fee, where they get a percentage of your commission as well. Usually sometimes it's like 40 to 60%, depending on what brokerage you're at. I know, right?
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like some Amway stuff.
Real estate is really one of the few fields where you actually pay to work. You pay to work. You pay a commission fee.
This is crazy.
You pay a commission fee. You also pay, some offices have what are called desk fees, where you actually paying monthly for their services, to have like a desk there, what they call a desk, but to be like a part of their CMA or their email. And they can get expensive. They can range from $50 to $75 a month.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So and just in my ignorance, I've always thought commissions were like started at like 6% and then went up.
No, 6% would be what the total commission is, but per transaction, you may only get 3% of the 6. Half goes to the seller, half goes to the buyer agent.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you sell a house, they may charge you a 6% commission, but the broker has to split that between yourself and the buyer agent. So you end up with like 3% of the price.
Wow. And there's never a chance to get the whole 6%.
There is a chance to get the 6% if you represent both sides. If you negotiate it to represent both sides, where you represent the seller and the buyer, that's where you get your whole 6%.
But is that like a conflict of interest?
So there are laws that we have to govern ourselves by. And you have to pretty much have a waiver signed by both parties saying that I'm representing the buyer and the seller, and I have a responsibility to treat you guys equally. In other words, if the seller tell you something like, hey, I might give a $5,000 credit, you can't go tell your buyer, I know they'll give you $5,000. You have to treat it as just like two different people. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's good information. Hey, Facebook, that is really good information to know. All right, so the negotiation process. Tell me, is it easy? Is it hard? Or does it depend on the buyers and the sellers? Kind of, how does that work?
It depends, really depends on which one you're representing, the buyer or the seller, and market conditions. As of now, with it being a seller's market, the seller holds all the cards. They hold all the cards. They can make negotiation easier. They can make it hard for you. And at this time, a lot of sellers want to get the top dollar for their property. So they're not really trying to come down too much on prices. And with it being so competitive right now in the market, a lot of times listing price or asking prices, it sells higher than that because there's so many people wanting the property.
Okay. So that's good to know. So tell me, if I sold my current property, what would you tell me I should be preparing for before selling my property?
Biggest things I would be asking you to prepare yourself for: one, preparing the home to be sold.
And what does that look like?
Declutter your house, people. That's one of the biggest things you got to tell people, because they're so used to their home being their home. Yes. They got a path that they walk in, and you walk in, it's like, we got to get rid of 89% of this. We just need furniture and a wall. Preparing your home, fixing small things in your house. If that leaky faucet has been leaking for 3 years, let's get a screwdriver, tighten that up. Let's tighten the door handles. Let's put a fresh coat of paint.
3 years. Not a leak for 3 years. Come on, people.
They do it. You walk in, but they become used to it. That's just a part of their home. They become used to the faucet that just leaks like that. Then be mad at GRU when water bill high. But that'll be the first thing. And the biggest thing that I try to educate my sellers on is the equity that they have in their home. Understanding what the equity game is, understanding that you have money sitting there in your home. Let's try to maximize that. Let's figure out how much you own your house, if you have any outstanding claims or liens on your house, and let's try to maximize the equity that you can have as money in your pocket to go buy another house with you.
So what's the average amount of days a listing stays on the market?
In Alachua County right now, our listing average is 20 days.
Oh, okay.
20 days from start to finish. We're right around like 20 days, 22 days.
Not too bad.
That's because the market is still hot. It's still hot. It was, last year, it was down to like 1 or 2 days. During COVID, it was like 1 day. Like houses were selling as soon as they hit the market. So we've gotten better in the last couple of years, but it's still a good market. It's still a hot market in Gainesville.
Good. That's good. Okay, what is your list to price ratio?
My list to price ratio is actually above right now. I'm big on my numbers, so I crunch my numbers all the time.
You gotta be.
We're currently like around 110%. Our listing to sale price is usually going up because it's still a seller's market. You have people who are still overbidding because it's competitive. You still have 5, 6, 7 offers on a house in a week. So it's real competitive right now. The average square foot here is around about 200, 210 per square foot.
Okay. Awesome. Now, just to let the Facebook world know that I'm not an agent, not at all.
I thought you was ready for me to sell your house. That's what I thought. That's what you were asking. I was going to say, I can come over tomorrow and we can get the ball rolling. I was ready.
So I myself, I am a signing agent. So I've done signing agent for years. So I know a little bit about the real estate industry from that perspective. So these questions that I'm asking you, I did my research.
Yeah. You're the person I like to see. You're the finish line. You're the person before the check cut.
No, I'm the one everybody's smiling when they see.
Oh yeah, you're the
They're
one.
like, oh, there she is. Come on in.
I don't pull all my hair out. I'm ready to see you.
Absolutely. Okay. So I asked this question already when you work with the buyers and the sellers, and you're now saying it's more of a seller's market more so than a buyer's market.
Yes.
How do you help your buyers in this slow market? Like, how do you help encourage them in their buying experience?
The biggest thing I tell every one of my buyers, trust the process. It's not going to be smooth in the beginning. It's going to be some heartaches. You're going to see a house that you fall in love with on the internet. And by the time we go look at it, it's already sold. Trust the process. The second thing is the home that God has for you, it's going to go easy. Everything's going to happen. Your offer going to get accepted. Your inspection going to go great. Your appraisal going to go great. And it's going to be exactly where you want it to be. That's the biggest two things. Keeping them calm, because we become therapists as realtors.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, listen, you're already a life coach, so you that helped along a little bit.
Keep the husband and wife separate, you become a therapist enough. But just trying to keep them calm and let them know that the house that's for them, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna work out just fine.
So how do you help them understand how to compete in the market, being that it's a seller's market? Like, how would you tell your buyer, this is how we fight this? This is how we go at this. How would you tell the buyer that? Before
my buyer goes to see a house, I like to do as much research on the house and on the market around the house as possible. So when we go and they say they like it, I've already came up in my mind an area that they may want to be at for offer. So they don't come in low, because a lot of people want to think they can come in low. And I say, well, hey, these houses are sold in the neighborhood and this is what they sold for. We might want to be a little closer to this, but take your time and think of what you want to do. I think educating them the most will be the biggest thing, because we have that time that people still listen to their granddaddy uncle up under the tree who told him that he brought a house.
Not under the tree.
Under the tree. He brought a house with 4 acres and a mule for $30,000. And she gonna get one. You not no more. Those days are over, granddaddy. But that's the biggest thing, just educating them on what the market is like, letting them understand that this isn't those times where you can get a brand new house for $75,000. These aren't those times where you can move into a house and pay $200 a month. Those days are long gone from our parents. These are days where this is what the market has looked like, and it doesn't look like it's slowing up at all. Other places around the U.S. is falling off, but Florida stands strong.
I don't think people understand. Like, I remember asking my mother how much she paid for the house that we grew up in when they bought it. And she was like, it was $19,000. I was like, why did you? She's like, we were barely fine. Oh yeah. She's like, we were barely being fine. So it was, the times were different. And when, when we are still growing with the times, money starts to change. The exchange rate of money starts to change. So people have to understand that this is going to be a constantly up moving target. It's not gonna, if we get a drop, it's gonna be real quick, and then it's gonna be right back up. Yep.
We had a little slight drop around Christmas, November, December, when market slows down because nobody wants to move around Christmas time. But now that we're going back into the first quarter, we're already up again. They're expecting Florida to end the year somewhere around like 7.5% increase on home values. Yeah. They are expecting interest rates to come down a little bit, though. They expect to come down a little bit to kind of offset everything, because just like you said, that's been a big talk in Congress that these aren't the 70s. Houses are not $70,000 anymore. Our average market price here is around $295. That's the average market. Crazy. That is ridiculous. That is crazy. But that's where we are.
I would say, but I'm not going to say. But I mean, when I purchased my house 23 years ago, I was nowhere near that. Nowhere near
I
that.
looked up what my parents paid for their house, and we had a nice house in upside town. I'm like, that's not even half of what, that's not a quarter of what I paid for my house.
No.
But that's what the times were.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So is it better to work with a team of people? I'm sorry, a family of people,
Mhm.
or working by yourself
On a transaction or as
as a whole?
a group. Um, I would say it's better to work with a team. It's better
Okay.
to work with a team as a brokerage, as a team,
Mhm.
or than just alone, because sometimes things happen. You may get backed up and you may need someone to go to your inspection, or somebody to go meet the appraiser to let them in, or somebody to do your final walkthrough. So I think that having someone else there for that purpose is good. I'm not gonna say for a transaction, individual transaction, like one sale, having 5 or 6 people is worth it. I don't know
Mhm.
if I want that. I've had some people ask me, would I do teams? But I don't think I would do big teams on transactions.
Okay.
I think it's kind of
What would
takes.
that look like though? What would that look like? What would each, I mean, you have 5 people on the team. What all 5 people gonna be doing? You need one
So
buyer and one seller. That's it.
that's it. But a lot of these, the more popular ones, they do focus on a team, and they have 5 realtors on a team, and one might just do the contract. One may be really good at showing. One person might be the one that smiles great and be there at closings. One person might just write out your contract for you. So they divide them up, but I think that kind of stops the agent from being able to grow, because all they focus on is that one thing that they're allowed to do. They're
Okay.
allowed to do showing, so that's all they know. They don't know the outside of the ups and downs of writing a contract, how to write a contract the proper way, or how to negotiate a contract, because that's not what they get to focus on.
Mhm. So, what would you tell a young teenage Black or brown boy who's looking at you and like, dang, Mr. Chances, he's doing a lot. What would you tell him how to get himself positioned correctly so he can make moves like you have?
Pray. Pray and don't stop praying. I mean, I've accomplished a lot over the years, but it took a long time to get here. It didn't just happen overnight. There's been a lot of failures, a lot of ups and downs, but I stayed consistent, stayed disciplined, stayed praying, and lean on. Don't be afraid to step outside the box. I've always done things outside the box. Even with my first career dentistry, nobody Black was in dentistry when I got in dentistry 17 years ago. It was me, the only Black person in the whole class. But it was something I did. I stepped outside the box, and don't be afraid to step outside the box and try something on your own. Have a leap of faith.
So, if could you share with the people the amount of professions that you have held, including some of the certifications that you hold?
Okay. So
It's a long list, y'all.
long list. I gotta get it together. I gotta think. So for 17 years, I was in dentistry. I was a dental assistant, and I was a registered dental hygienist for 14 years. Outside of that, I went and became a certified life coach, and I did that for about 3 or 4 years. Became a personal trainer. But the careers that I focus on now is next tier realty, which is my baby. This is the one I'm in all day, every day. And I also have a trucking company, which I started 2.5 years ago. The next step, I always got something going on.
You better.
It's going to be more development. My next goal is to actually start building houses. The major goal
Okay.
is to build a subdivision, an 8 to 10 home subdivision. That's going to be my next thing that I'm actually looking forward to starting, hopefully around the end of this year, building my first house.
Okay. All right. I got a contact for you. I need to just throw that at you real quick when we hang up off the live. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing to know.
I love that.
So I think that, do you feel like, I heard TDJ say this, when his son went to school, I want to say, might have been for hospitality, but I'm not quite sure. I may be misquoted. And he said his son came to him and he says, Dad, I don't think this is what I want to do. And he says, well, son, that's fine. Because it may not be the thing, but it's going to be the thing that gets you to the thing.
There it is.
So how do you feel like your experience in all these other professions that you've done, and I'm pretty sure it's a few more other ones tucked away in there somewhere. You just don't want to say, but I'm gonna let it slide this time. So how do you feel they prepared you to where you are right now with your trucking company and your real estate, like being a dental hygienist, being a life coach, being a personal trainer? And you're not personal training anymore.
I don't have the time for it. It got real time consuming.
That's okay. That's okay. So being a personal trainer, doing all that, how did those things prepare you to who you are today?
I needed every last one of those careers to get to where I'm at today. Every last one of them built on top of the other one to get me to where I am. I needed to be an assistant. I needed to be a hygienist. I needed to learn the whole life coaching skills, because I told you in real estate, you become a full-blown therapist. I needed to learn those skills, and the failures that came with every last one of them. I started a fitness company a year, 3 months before COVID, and that company flopped because of COVID. I mean, you can't have a fitness company if you can't go to the gym, can't have small groups, you couldn't have anything. So I needed all of those careers, all of those failures and successes to get me where I am today.
Awesome. Awesome. And I say that because I think I said this quote on my last podcast. It was a movie that it was the quote was in a movie and it came from a book. And the guy was telling the young lady that everything that you're going through right now in life is preparing you for what you ask God for.
Mm.
And I was like, when I heard it, I promise you, I rewinded that thing about 10 times. Like, excuse me, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute, rewind, excuse me, wait a minute, what? Yeah. And it was the thing that I've been asking God for so much. So I had to question myself. Like, I'm going through all of this. What did I ask for? What did I ask for? Oh, yeah. And it was amazing because shortly after that, I went back to school and I'm getting my degrees and everything. But it was, people don't understand that we start asking God for things. And there is a process to those things, because not only is he giving those things to us, he is showing us how to maintain them. Mm-hmm. He has given us humility. He has given us understanding. So, one of my biggest prayers is, Lord, help me stay humble. Wherever you send me, wherever you take me, help me to stay humble, because I don't want to get the big head anywhere I go, because as quick as he gave it to me, he can snatch it away. Mm-hmm. So I'm always asking for me to stay humble in those things. But I say that to say this. There was a road that you were asking God for as you was moving along that highway. Now, one thing that I've learned is most Black men, it's not a profession that they want. It's just money. And I've been asking thousands. I've been asking thousands. You will find something that you eventually like. But the key is, and I used to ask one of my coworkers, and he was like, Miss Erica, I just want to make some money. I don't care how it comes. Long as it's good and I can make it, I don't care how it comes. Yeah. So what do you say to that? Do you feel like those things really propelled you to get to where you are now?
I actually had this conversation with friends a couple of weeks ago. We were sitting around talking, and I told them exactly that, because I have a friend who's looking to start a business, and he thinks, I was like, it's not going to just be happening. You're not going to wake up and it's $1 million in the bank. You're not going to wake up and your clothing brand is on every website. It's going to take some days. It's going to take some heartaches. It's going to take some days that you're thinking, I'm going to scrap this and start all over again. But staying consistent, staying prayerful. And I shared the story about what I just told you earlier. I started a business that was a great idea. It was awesome. But God had a different plan. COVID happened, and it was done. It was done.
As quick as it started.
It was a great idea. And it was an idea that I worked on for months before launching it. But it destroyed me. I felt like I couldn't start a business. I'm like, why would I even do that? What is like, I put everything I had into this and it's gone. But you have to go through those things in order to get to the end. If it was going to be so easy, everybody would do it.
Oh, yeah.
If it was being an entrepreneur, it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah. So how do you tell someone not to give up? How do you express that you have to keep moving forward? How do you do that?
You know, one of the biggest things that I do is I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of TD Jakes videos, big on Steve Harvey and his videos. He definitely talks about not giving up. And I think that's one thing you have to do. You have to read books and listen to others who've been down that road. That's going to tell you, I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I didn't make $1 million my first day. I wasn't born with $2 million. I started from the bottom. I fell a couple times, fell 3 or 4 times, but I kept going. I had faith and kept pushing. Steve Harvey has a YouTube video about leaping, the one about leaping. And he says, when you jump off for faith and leap off the cliff, you're going to have some tears, you're going to have some cuts, but keep going. It'll be all right at the end. You're going to come out bruised, but you're going to make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was having a conversation with a young lady at my job today, and I made a statement, and this is just an observational statement. And throughout the years, I have noticed that our people will, if I use this as an analogy, I'm going to school and I'm having a challenge in a class and it's tough, and I'm telling you how tough it is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times our people will say, why are you taking yourself through that for? I mean, what you going to school for anyway? What you need school for? You know, it makes no sense. But then that same mouthpiece, if I tell them I'm having a tough time at my job that barely already paying you, you know, serves no real purpose, but they're probably sometimes for some people just barely paying the bill. Mm-hmm. They'll tell you to fight for that, but give up on this. Mm-hmm. So how do you tell people to stay in the fight?
That was big for me. I was set in dentistry for so long. That's all I did. You think about it, I'm 38. I started dentistry when I was 21 years old. So for 17 years, that was my main focus. That was my bread and butter. I knew every week that check was gonna come. Every week I was gonna get check, and it wasn't a small check. I made very well off in dentistry. But to give that up and take a leap of faith and jump into a career that you might not get paid every month. You may not get paid every 2 months, but when you do, it's a good one. Was something different. So I tell them that if you want to stay complacent, that's fine. But if you want to know when you know there's more in your life, take that leap of faith and go forward and stay consistent, stay disciplined. It'll work out in the end. If you don't bet on nobody, bet on yourself. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think people have enough faith to believe in themselves? You know, because I think sometimes we live in a world that we can believe in everything else. Mm-hmm. We can believe in Google over the Bible. We can believe in so many other things. But how do you tell people to believe in the thing that God has placed inside of them?
If it's something you think about every day, when I say every day, like no matter what you got going on, all you think about is doing that career, starting that job, going back to school, just moving. If that's something that you think about every day, that's God telling you to go, go, go. You the one fighting it in your mind to say no. Sometimes you got to get out your own way and listen to him. Like I said, for myself, it took me a long time to leave dentistry. And he told me for over a year, he was like, go and I'm gonna make a way. It's gonna be all right. Don't worry. And when I did, I tell you, I do not regret it, not one day. I love the career that I have now. I love the lifestyle that I have now, being able to do more. And he's provided and blown my mind, like he always said he would.
Now I can tell y'all this: if y'all watch Mr. Robert's son on Facebook, he is living his best life.
I am living it.
Going back and forth with y'all no more. No. He is living his best life, which is good because I think it's great when we can show people that life is good.
No,
Like, and it's not fake good. It's
no,
like just good.
it's
Like
good.
life is good. I'm just happy. I wake up with that joy in my heart. I wake up feeling like with gratitude and joy. It's not about, the hottest this or the
No.
new fashion this or the new, it's not about any of that. It's just a sense of joy that you wake up with. How can you explain that to people?
It's hard to explain because it's an amazing feeling, to be honest with you. To get up every morning and do something that I love. Like, I truly like real estate. I love what it does. I like the negotiating aspect. I even have grown to like the going out and trying to meet new people. It's just been something that I and truly loved. And like I said, the lifestyle is given and it's providing. It's hard to even explain it. I can't help but say, but one thing, I'm very thankful that God gave this to me and I actually took the chance to do it because it was hard. It was hard.
Good. Good. So I know you said you had 4 people that were working underneath you.
Mhm.
What does it look like from their aspect, like them having you as their leader? Is it a point where they're growing and are they seeing different aspects of life? Because like you stated, real estate has so many different facets to it.
Mhm.
Are they growing in those areas? Are they focusing on their strengths and understanding their weaknesses? How does that work for them?
And it works out very well for them. That was one of my biggest things when starting, was being able to be there for my agents. I didn't want to have a huge team. I don't want to have 100 agents. I'm okay with 5, maybe 10 agents at the most. I want to be able to help them get where they want to go. Even if that's not here with me, I want to help them get there. I want to give them the tools they need. I want to be able to be there if they need me. I want them to be able to still have the same flexibility I have with my life. So if your kids have an event, pick up the phone and call me. You need me to be to your closing, I'll be there. If you're going out of town and you need me to be to your inspection, I'll be there. I want to be a part of your team. I don't want you to just feel like he just sit back and get a cut of my check and he doesn't do anything. No, we are a family. We are here together. We work together.
Awesome.
I check on them and I don't even call them about work. I might call them and see how they doing. Check on their mental health of the week, see how the kids are doing. I just want to be more than just their boss, more than just their broker. Just be there, be someone they can go to on everything.
Good, good. Well, you a life coach, so I mean, you can do all of that. Hey, it
I
is
pull
what it
those
is.
skills out quite often.
Well, we're gonna close. I just want you to give the people some last words. Any words of encouragement? Anything else that you want to say to the people?
Words of encouragement. If there's something for you, if God plays something in your heart, go for it. He won't fail you. He'll always be there for you. Another slip, if you're looking to buy or sell in the North Central Florida area, Next Tier Realty is here. Give us a call.
Shameless plug.
Hey,
Let me go ahead and throw this out there.
Come out there and talk to us. We got here. We will help you through everything. We were here long past the transaction closing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chance, for being here with us here tonight live on Facebook. Listen, please look up Chance Robertson on Facebook, Next Tier Realty on Facebook if you're looking for a house or if you just need some information. Please look him up. Find him. He can sell you a house anywhere in the state of Florida. From the Panhandle all the way down to the Keys, wherever you want, he can do it. Thank you guys for being with CC Inc. tonight. CC Inc. Publishing and Design. I'm all over the place. CC Inc. Publishing and Design with Voice and Podcast. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, we good.
Good. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
That wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it was good. It flowed easy. I like that.
Say that again.
It flowed easy. I like